everybody, and welcome back to the Blossom Review. How are you? Today we're talking about the week's greatest surprise. We're talking about Netflix's The Trauma Code, Heroes on Call. The Trauma Code has been a bit of a surprise for a couple of reasons. Number one, even though the show was announced a couple of years back, we only got a confirmed release date, a teaser, a poster for it on January the 7th, 2025. So not even 20 days before the actual release of the show. So everything happened really fast. It was a bit of this surprise release from Netflix. And number two, the show is an absolute marvel and audiences have noticed it. According to Flix Patrol, the Trauma Code is on Netflix top 10 around the world in several different countries. And I'm here to tell you why. Why is everybody watching the show? Why is the show so special? So, this review is spoiler free, so you don't need to worry. If you don't know anything about the series, The Trauma Code is a live-action adaptation of The Trauma Center Golden Hour, a web novel written by real-life doctor Lee Nak-jun. The story follows Baek Gang-hyuk, played by Ju Ji-hoon, who is a brilliant trauma surgeon who has worked in war zones all over the world. He then moves back to Korea, starts working at this university hospital whose trauma center is in shambles. So he's extremely confident, extremely experienced, extremely skilled, but at first his unorthodox, let's say, methods sort of shock the entire staff. So as he navigates the team dynamics and the politics inside the hospital, Dr. Baek turns this trauma center into this active unit that can actually respond to emergencies and save lives. So Dr. Baek is often assisted by fellow Dr. Young, played by Choo Young-woo, Nurse Chon, played by Ha Young, and resident Pak, an anesthesiologist, played by Jung Jae-kwang. At first, you see that the show is about the competition between bureaucracy, politics, and of course, saving lives, which is deep down a battle of greed and selfishness against generosity and altruism. So Dr. Baek needs to fight and curse and shout to get funding to save lives, while the fat cats are all sitting around drinking tea and celebrating profits. We all know how it goes because this is a very popular source of conflict in most medical dramas out there. And here, this dichotomy also provides dramatic beats that punctuate the narrative and create tension. But in the Trauma Code, these conflicts are solved very quickly because the show never allows its own drama to overshadow the greater theme of the series. We are here to witness people who believe that all human lives deserve to be cared for and saved. Essentially, The Trauma Code is a show about life, about how fragile but how extraordinary human beings can be, and about finding meaning behind our own actions. Besides the patients that Dr. Baek fights tooth and nail to save, these themes arise also in the dynamic between characters throughout the show. So for instance, in the first few episodes, you see characters measure the worth of a person according to their resume. You see characters measuring the worth of a person according to their gender or their role in the hospital. It's all about hierarchy, it's all about pedigree, or better yet, it's all about prejudice. But Dr. Baek, having seen the darkest moments of a person's life, He doesn't have time for this pettiness. He is pragmatic, he's outspoken, and he's very straightforward. And I think most importantly, he sees people for who they are and not for their credentials. He sees their strengths and their weaknesses. He sees their potential. He sees their willingness to grow. And he not only appreciates those, but he also, he's eager to learn from the people around him, but he's also eager to help them grow, which is wonderful to watch. I think it's amazing how they show this personality of his in little things. So if you pay attention, he never fails to say thank you. He gives people nicknames, and he openly reprimands laziness, and he openly praises dedication. Because for Dr. Beck, everyone matters. This is how he sees the world, and this is the sort of perspective that he's here to encourage. So Dr. Beck constantly shows this profound respect for life itself. Throughout its 8 episodes, so the show has 8 episodes, and they are all fairly short for a K-drama. I think the runtime is between 45 and 55 minutes each. But throughout its 8 episodes, the trauma code reminds us of how fragile life is and how anything can happen to anyone at any time. Existence is much bigger than us individually. It's much bigger than us as individuals. And I think that's why we should cherish it. Humans may be weak, our bodies may be weak, but we can be much, much more than that. I love that the show is called the Trauma Code Heroes on Call. And the format of the show sort of reminds us of superhero stories a little bit. Dr. Beck has this flair of a superhero. But the Trauma Code reminds us that even though there is nothing super about us, we can all be extraordinary. So by watching Dr. Beck, Dr. Young, and Nurse Chon interacting and working together, we realize that human beings can be that determined. They can be that brave, that kind, that empathetic, and that principled. And that leads to the matter of finding reason behind our actions. Dr. Beck is a person with very clear values and very clear morals. He knows what he's doing, and he knows why he's doing it. And he encourages Dr. Young to find his own meaning, his own reason behind what he's doing. Why? Because without meaning behind our actions, it is very difficult to weather the storms that come our way. So because we are bound to fail, and because we are bound to waver, if we assign meaning to what we are doing, we are able to pick ourselves up and keep going. And that's a very nice message. It's very nice, this smaller theme running throughout the show, is that you have to have meaning behind your actions. And I love how they deal with it, especially in the dynamic between these 3 characters, between Dr. Beck, Dr. Young, and Nurse Chon. That's why the Trauma Code is such a humane tale, because its themes apply to any of us, regardless of our jobs, regardless of our position in life. You know, it is a theme that is universal. Another important thing to mention is that the show never really exalts doctors as flawless, mighty beings. It shows appreciation and admiration towards medical professionals, and not only doctors, but also nurses and paramedics who dedicate themselves to their job and to save lives. But it never implies that being a doctor automatically makes you a selfless, kind human being. The show also shows a lot of medical professionals who don't do their jobs very well, and not just that idea of like the big guys are all corrupt and the small guy down here, they are all nice and kind. No, you have doctors here on the ground not doing their jobs properly. So I think it's, in a way, is realistic in that sense. Now, you might be asking, all these themes have been explored before, so why is everyone watching the Trauma Code now? Because it is incredibly absorbing and completely enjoyable. It's funny because when I started the show, I thought to myself, I'm just gonna watch a couple of episodes and then I need to do something else. And suddenly I blinked and I had finished the entire show. It's just crazy, it's just so addictive. Even my mom, she started the show, she said, well, I'm gonna watch a couple of episodes. She turns to me this morning and says, oh, Karen, I'm only missing the last episode now. I was like, what happened? Because it's just so addictive, it's so absorbing. You just can't stop watching. The Trauma Code is a medical drama. Better yet, the Trauma Code isn't a medical drama. The Trauma Code is more of a medical dramedy, let's say. And by that I mean 70% comedy and 30% drama. So this comedy is very, very well constructed through the script, the camera work, and the score, the music in the show. The script counts on sharp dialogue, compelling characters, and a fast-paced narrative that never allows for a boring moment. Surgeries and action scenes happen aplenty in the Trauma Code, but the quieter moments, the moments in which the characters just chat and bond, they are just as important to the story and just as engrossing to the audience. That means that the script or the plot, you can say the story, is always guiding us somewhere, but at the same time it gives us enough room to breathe and appreciate the characters that we are following. And these characters are fantastic. They all have different personalities and they all have different approaches to the situations at hand. That gives the characters different learning journeys and a script with a diversity of relationships to work with, and that makes for a very entertaining watch. You just fall in love with the characters. I love those characters. I just love them so much. I love Nurse Chon. She's the best. But yeah, so you have these amazing characters that you just fall in love with. Now, the camera work is excellent throughout. So the compositions, the blocking, the camera movement, everything is excellent. But in the Trauma Code, I think that the camera work renders itself especially well to comedy. And this comedy is achieved through a combination of camera work and use of music that is always on point. So even though you're talking about a very intense, a very heavy topic, a very heavy subject, you have this light approach thanks to the comedy that they bring with this camera work, with this music. So it makes everything so entertaining to watch. And not only that, the show also counts on very dynamic transitions and a lot of montages that not only give an extra layer of verve to the show, but it also responds to the energy of the script. It's just amazing to think that this is actually director Lee Do-yoon's very first K-drama, and he just manages to make all the pieces work perfectly well together. I think he really did some excellent work here and deserves a lot of praise. So everybody in the show, I think, deserves a lot of praise. We also need to mention that the opening is absolutely wonderful. I didn't skip a single opening because it was just amazing and I love it so much. So the opening is fantastic. The CGI, I think considering K-drama standards, the CGI is very, very good. I think it also helped that they filmed some scenes in Morocco, so it helped to give the show, let's say, a visual consistency that makes for a good experience for us watching. The surgery scenes were also very well made, which was very nice to watch. And finally, you have this incredible cast who deliver incredible performances. It's just, they are all amazing. So everything, it's just that everything works with the trauma code. So, should you watch the trauma code? The trauma code delivers the magical tropes that we are familiar with in this high energy, incredibly immersive, incredibly satisfying package. Of course, you have moments that are a bit exaggerated, you have those overly heroic moments, but they are never too much. Instead, you have a group of delightful characters that you grow to care about. You have a narrative with meaning and heart, and you have episodes that hook you in from the very beginning. So if you are a fan of magical shows, I would say don't even think about it and go for it. If you, like me, you have problems with blood and surgeries and medicine, I would say watch it, because the trauma code offers much, much, much more than that. I think the trauma code has its own bustling personality. It's just honestly fun. And I think it makes you feel like you can be a little bit better tomorrow. You can be a little bit more tomorrow than you are today. So the trauma code, Heroes on Call, is on Netflix. Make sure to watch it. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you stop by the Blossom Review. So yesterday we posted the complete calendar of K-drama releases, so you will find all the K-dramas coming out in February there. International distribution, cast, synopsis, trailers. So make sure to stop by so you can choose the shows that you'll be watching in February. And well, I hope you like and I hope you subscribe. And I hope to see you here next Thursday so we can continue talking about K-dramas and J-dramas and Korean media and Japanese media. So have a wonderful day today. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye!